Happy Tuesday, everyone. New Hampshire TikTok mom killed her entire family, and there was only one survivor in that household. What led this woman, Emily Long, to kill her entire family? Was it a cancer diagnosis? Was it financial? Or was it a mental health crisis that she was trying to reach out to someone to help her going through the difficult times in her life? Or was it something more sinister than that? Well, I'm going to dive in and talk about it. What led this woman to kill her entire family, and then she ended up taking her own life? Craziness, craziness, and it's a sad, sad story. So, welcome back to my YouTube channel of That's It, and let's get started. Okay, you guys. So Emily Long, 34-year-old TikTok, killed her entire family, like I said in my intro, including herself. And there was only one survivor, the youngest, and he did not suffer any injuries, thank God. But can you imagine once this boy gets a little bit older and go to school, and kids are going to say, you know how kids are, kids can be very cruel and say and whisper, "This is the kid. This is the kid of the mother that offed herself and killed the rest of his family." Like, this little boy is an orphan now, no parents, no siblings, and I don't even know if he's in foster care right now or if a family relative took him in. But I just can't even imagine when he's older what he has to endure to find out the truth about his family and his siblings. And thank God he's only 3, that he did not witness his mom offing herself, because that would be so traumatic on anyone to witness that, let alone a child. So thank God that he's 3 and there was no harm or no injury towards the kid. Thank God. But still, I just can't even imagine what this little boy is going to go through his life, that his mother, you know, killed herself and killed her husband and her other 2 children that was like 8 and 6 years old. You know, the 8-year-old was Parker Long. The daughter was Ryan Long, who was 6 years old. The husband, 48, and apparently on April 25th that he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I can't even imagine, finding out that your spouse is going through cancer and going through all this. On top of that, you have to take care of the household and the kids, and then not put yourself, but be all put together. You know what I mean? To hold this family apart. Could have been it was too much for her, that she was just breaking, that she couldn't get herself together because she had to deal with her husband and her children, and that she was going through probably depression of her own. And apparently she posted a lot of TikTok videos of her journey with her husband dealing with 4-stage cancer, and maybe it took a toll on her, that she was going through depression and anxiety and trying to keep herself together through all this, and maybe it took a toll on her. It took a toll on her, financially, mentally, physically, that she probably broke, because it could, like I said, it could have been a diagnosis, it could be a financial, it could be a mental health struggles that she was going through. And top of that, she embezzled money from where she worked. Apparently, according to the news, Emily Long was served as a director operation of Wings It at a local chicken wing chain with multiple locations across the state, allegedly stealing money since 2023. 2023, and the restaurant owner, Derek Fisher, told Fox News Digital on Friday that he just realized that there was cash deposits. She was writing checks to herself, and this was like before this incident happened of her killing herself and killing her family. And according to the police investigator, they're ruling it out as murder and suicide. Basically, she killed herself and then she murdered her entire family, except for the exception of the youngest son of theirs. And this happened on August 18 at their family home. and northwest of Portsmouth in New Hampshire. Very, very sad. And I have to say, this is a beautiful family, a beautiful, beautiful family. And something terribly went wrong in her state of mind that for her to, to kill her entire family, except for her youngest son. And it's just very sad and very tragic. But what led to that? And we still trying to the investigators trying to put pieces together. But according to Fox News and according to Derek, the owner, statement, money's been missing. Money's been missing over a year, and you won't believe how much $606,000 missing in a time over a year. Okay, and they just found out because they were looking at the QuickBooks, and apparently she was in charge of the QuickBooks. And Derek even said, and I'm just paraphrasing here because I'm going to let you listen to his own words of what he said, that she was trustworthy, that he trusted her with the money, with the books, that he knew the children like it was like his own. And for her to do that, it was just unforgivable, he said. And I'm just paraphrasing, like he couldn't believe that someone that he trusted in his own business would steal from him. And when he asked her, because he even questioned this, and he confronted her, and he said he requested 2 months of her personal bank statements, which dodged the she dodged giving him the information, and then later she manipulated and said that, well, she's going to give him the information, but she never did. She just kept making excuses. And then she even told Derek, you could just have me fired, or I can just resign. So Derek, like, well, that doesn't seem right. So what he did, he called the police. He called the police and made a file report, because he's saying that something doesn't seem right. This money is missing over a year, and it seemed like my chief operator is stealing money from my business. And that's when it seemed like, I guess she got wind of it, and maybe that freaked her out, that she was just so embarrassed or ashamed that this is happening. Because why else would she do that? Why would she shoot her husband, excuse me, several times, and then she and her son and daughter just one bullet in the head? It's just crazy, and it's just tragic that a mother can do that. And if you're going through all this, if you're going through depression and anxiety, why not seek help? You put it on social media. She's been posting it on videos after videos. Why not seek help? If it was overwhelming for you that, your husband, the father of your children, is dying from stage 4 cancer, why not seek help? Why not reach out to your family or your friends if you feel like you were very overwhelmed? And, kids pick up on a lot of things, and I'm not a parent, but I would think, if I was, if I had children and my husband was going through something health wise, I would try my best not to let my children, be involved in this, especially at a young age, because children pick up things so quickly, and you want to make life a little bit normal for them, because when they pick up your energy, they're going to take it out of their classmates. Okay, when you feel angry and upset, they're going to get angry and upset and take it out of one of their classmates. Kids pick up things, they can read things. That's why it's super important. Try to, eliminate certain things that they shouldn't be aware of at such a young age, and things that they can't understand and can't process at that very moment, and make it very normalized for them as much as you can. And again, I don't know how she handled it in her household, but by watching some of her TikTok videos, saying that, her 3-year-old was, she picked up signs of her 3-year-old being sad and depressed. And I'm thinking, he is 3. And then she was like saying, well, her therapist think that he should be near therapy. He's 3. He probably can't even speak yet. You know what I mean? So how can a 3-year-old be depressed and sad? That didn't make any sense to me when she said that in one of her videos. I'm like, maybe your 7-year-old or a 3-year-old, maybe, yes, they probably picked it up, because they're at that age a little bit to, to notice things, but not a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old is just playing with toys and trying to talk and trying to crawl or walk. I don't think they pick up things when things are not normalized in the household, if you get what I'm saying. But so that didn't make any sense to me. But just looking, I mean, just watching her videos, it seemed like she was just very down and out and very sad. And I don't know, that was a cry for help. But my thing is why she didn't reach out for help. I don't know if she had any family members nearby her area or where she lived in New Hampshire. But it's just a very sad, tragic thing. There was no note left why she did it. But I think that she probably she embezzled a lot of money where she worked, and she was afraid that she was going to get caught and be embarrassed and shamed. And what she did, she killed her family, and then she took her own life. But my thing is, why would you kill your children? Why would you do that? Why would you kill your two beautiful, innocent children? And why would you kill your husband? He had stage 4 cancer. You didn't even give him a chance. He was going to end up dead anyway, but why kill him? And you shot him several times. Why? This whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like maybe this could have been prevented if she would have reached out and get help and seek for help. But maybe that things were catching up to her because she's been stealing the company's money for at least a year. Okay, cashing deposit checks, writing checks for herself, and it was catching up to her. She probably did it the first time. Nothing, no one didn't notice because she handled the QuickBooks. Then she did it a few times, after a few times, after a few times. After that, she got so deep into it that she couldn't stop. You know what I mean? People just tend to be greedy. You know what I mean? They did it the first or second or third time, and they feel like, okay, I did it the third time. Maybe I'm gonna stop. I haven't got caught yet, so I coast is clear. But then she probably got greedy and then she wanted more and more. And maybe because of her husband's health diagnosis, that the financial thing was getting too much to her. Maybe her husband was a breadwinner, and now she had to, pick up the pieces and do everything herself. It's a lot of possibilities, and I'm not, excluding one thing. It could be a lot of different things. Like I said, it could have been, her husband diagnosis. She found out that he has stage 4 cancer. It could have been the financial part, that everything is going to be on her shoulders now once her husband is no longer on this earth anymore. And top of that, she could have been going through a mental health break, struggles, okay, that she didn't know where to go, who to reach out to, when she said it in her videos, that she had a friend who was a therapist, but she was not ready. And this was her own words. She was not ready at the time to talk about it. But if you're going through a dark moment and you feel isolated, isn't it the right time to reach out to speak to someone so you don't take matters into your own hand and do something crazy and outrageous that you can't take back? And apparently that's what she did, because she's no longer on this earth. Her husband's no longer on this earth, and her 2 children are no longer on this earth. She left her youngest son orphaned. How selfish and weak is that? And I'm sorry to say that's very selfish of her for doing that. It's just despicable, it's unforgivable. And for me, I just don't understand how a mother can do that when she could have just easily asked for help. She's been doing TikTok videos before this whole incident happened. And then she found out about her husband. She could have easily, get the help that she needs, but she chose not to because she said she was not ready. So when is the right time when someone is ready to seek help? When is it? I feel like when you're isolated and you're by yourself and then you're in a dark path, that's the perfect time to reach out and talk to someone about this before it gets out of hand. That's the perfect time, but she chose not to. And sometimes life is tough, life is rough, things throw at us. We get a lot of obstacles, but at the end of the day, we have to find some type of joy in this world. We have to find some type of happiness. And when we get to that point, then we need to talk to someone, talk to a friend, a family member, a coworker, a therapist, somebody to help you to get out of that tough time in your life. Like, for me, in certain circumstances, there's times that, I wanted to get in my car and just take off and just start driving, and I don't even know where I'm heading. There was times like that. But then I thought about I didn't want to put my family through heartache or have them worry that something happened to me or someone kidnapped me. I never had that thought that to end my life, but I always had that thought just to get in my car, start the engine, and just start driving and never come back because I was just going through a certain tough time in my life. But then I snapped out of it, and then I said, you know what, and put joy in my life. Have some humor. I always put humor into it when I'm going through circumstances in my life, so I can just start, so I can laugh and have joy and have happiness that things are going to get okay. It seems rough right now, but things are going to be okay because I look at the brighter picture instead of like ending my life or just disappearing and then having my parents suffer and or my sisters or my friends having them worry about me like thinking that I'm missing or been kidnapped. That's just being selfish on my part, and I'm not thinking about their well-being, what they're going, what they would have gone through if I did that. And I just feel like for her, she just thought about herself. She didn't think about the repercussion, what's going to happen later on. You know what I mean? When she could have easily seek help and guidance from somebody who loved her and who would have been there for her to get through the tough times in her life. And I can't even imagine dealing with your spouse going through stage 4 cancer. That is rough. That is unbearable to handle. That your partner is sick and going through that, and on top of that, you got to take care of the kids. You got to take care of the household. You got to manage the finances on that. It can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. But then when you get to that point, then you have to ask yourself, can you really do it all by yourself, or should I get the help that I need and reach out to someone who's willing to help me instead of like the easy way out and ending your life? And for her, I feel like things were closing in because she embezzled $606,000, okay, and it was catching on to her, and then maybe that's the only way for her to end her life, so she wouldn't get any embarrassment. But I'm going to let you listen to the last video that Emily Long posted before she tragically ended her life and her entire family's life. So take a listen to what her final words, what she had to say. Sorry, slow. You should hear it. So it seemed like things were looking up for her. You know what I mean? Because she seemed very positive. She said that she was going to put herself out there, you know, take the kids out of the house and spend time with, have her spend, have her kids spend time with other kids and just be more active, more present, and just, just to get herself out there and not have her, so she won't be in a rut, she won't be in that depression. It seemed like, things were looking up until something happened on August 19th. Was it August 19th? I just want to make sure I make it, make it correct. Yeah, August 18th, excuse me. And then something terribly went wrong, that she killed her husband and killed her children and then killed herself. So I don't know what happened, because it seemed like she was really starting in the right path. Things were up and up, and something happened. Something sinister happened, and apparently, like I said, she ended her life and her whole entire family's life, except for the exception of her youngest son. And I'm going to show you, take a listen to Derek Fisher, the owner of Wingness, not Ness, is, and what he has to say. And I have to, I commend him. Like he said, he's not going to go after, suing. Um, to be quite honest, there's no one else to sue because everyone is dead. You can't sue a 3-year-old boy. It's not his fault. That's what Derek Fisher said. He's not gonna. It's not about the money. It's about this little boy, which is very animal. Am I saying it right? I can't even speak English. I am so sorry. That's very noble. That's the word I'm trying to say. Very noble of Derek Fisher, that he's not going to try to pursue trying to get his money, because this little boy lost his parents, lost his siblings. He's an orphan. I hope and pray that one of a family member take him in. I don't want him to be in a foster system, because the foster system is not that really, it's not great. So I just hope that he find the little boy find a good home, that someone will love him and protect him and shelter him from this until he's old enough to know the whole truth about what his mom did. Well, take a listen to what Derek Fisher had to say about the whole incident.
Derek Fisher was Emily Long's boss since 2018, and a week before the murder-suicide, Fisher filed a complaint against Emily Long at the Hampton Police Department. Last week, investigators say Emily shot and killed her husband and 2 kids before turning the gun on herself.
I'm still kind of in shock. I don't really believe that this sort of thing could have happened, or she was capable of doing something like that.
Before the murders, Long worked as the director of operations for Wingits. Her boss, Derek Fisher, said he trusted her, quote, immensely, and loved her kids like his own. But back in June, he started to become suspicious after he noticed there were a lot of handwritten checks being deposited into Long's bank account.
Time up until July this year, there was over $660,000 that were taken from my businesses, from cash deposits and checks written to herself, because she's the only one that had access to any of this money.
He said for weeks he tried to get answers from Long, but when he couldn't...
I felt like I had no other option but to go to law enforcement. And we were still doing our investigating on our financial end, and looking deeper into how far this went back and, how much was taken.
At this point, Fisher isn't planning on taking any legal action to recover any of the money.
I don't want to make this about me, because it's not about me. It's about this little boy that has no family anymore. And that is the story right here.
It is that story, and it's very sad. It's very normal of Derek Fisher not going to take any legal actions. And to be honest, how can he? You know what I mean? The boy's 3. He can't sue the boy, and you don't know any other immediate family that he can sue. But I'm just glad that he lost the money. He trusted a coworker that with the QuickBooks and everything, and then she basically stole from him. Stole that much money from his businesses. You know what I mean? And it to me, it's just very selfish and unjust. And again, it's not about him. It's about this, young, precious little boy that's an orphan and had no parents, had no siblings. And it's very sad. And it's just a whole sad story. And, you know, like I said before I go, if you're going through a mental health crisis or you're going through a struggle, please reach out. Please reach out to someone that can help you get through this so it doesn't get out of hand. And I'm definitely going to I'll give you the link. If anyone that you know that's going through this, there's a number on below on my YouTube chat on my page that you can just reach out and call that number. If you know anyone of your family members, your friends, anyone that's going through a mental health struggles or crisis, just reach out because it just takes that it takes a person just to reach out and to notice the signs. And sometimes people hide it very well. Some people hide it very well that you can't even tell if they're going through any mental break or breakdown. But if you can prevent one person for them not taking their life or anyone else's life, you made a difference. You made a difference. And then just notice the red flags. You know, if they're depressed, if they isolate themselves, if they feel lonely or they don't want to, I think most people they know the signs of when people are going through some tough times in their life, especially if you know that person particular well, that you just know and you just reach out. Just don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore any red flags either. Definitely say something and do something about it and reach out because you never want this to happen again. And then and some people are just like so shocked and outraged that a parent can kill, another their own child. It's been happening for so many times. You hear it in the news: a parent killed their child, a parent abused their child. It's all over. So to me, it's not a shock because it happens all over. You know what I mean? Look what happened to Jake Harrell and Elizabeth Harrell and baby Emmanuel. The father abused his son and end up killing him and burying him somewhere, and you still don't know where the body is. You hear so many stories of parents abusing, sexually assaulting their kids, and it's just crazy. So even though this is a sad story, but we shouldn't be surprised because this happens all over the world, all over the country as well, that you hear stories every single day that parents abuse their child, kill their child for some crazy, weird reason, which is unthinkable and unexcusable to do when they can easily got the help that they needed, but they end up being selfish and think about themselves and not thinking about the repercussion of their actions because other people have to pick up the pieces and figure out why this happened. Could have this been prevented? Could I picked up the red flags or noticed something different? Could I change the outcome? We will never know. We will never know because not never, but she didn't even leave a note. She didn't leave a note or anything. But what I do know, and my suspicion is that things were catching up to her. She was caught stealing, embezzling money, and things were getting hot. So she didn't know what else to do but to take her life. That's, like I said, that's one possibility. Mental health, and she couldn't deal with her husband's stage 4 cancer. It just got too much for her. She was very overwhelmed, and it was just getting a lot that she couldn't handle it, and she broke. She broke and she broke down, and she took her life, and then she took her entire family's life. And it's sad, and it's very unfortunate. And like I said, mental health is a really huge thing, and it's a big crisis right now because it's happening all over. And I've been, hearing all about it, hearing people going through breakdowns and mental health issues. And there needs to be more awareness about this, and for people to talk about it more and catch up, not catch up, but pick up on red flags and everything, and just reach out to someone if you know if they're going through some tough time in their life. Because things can get really tough and challenging, but again, like I said, you have to find joy in this world and find happiness and find humor and just keep going, even though when time gets tough, that things will get easy, things will get better. You just have to continue to keep telling yourself that things will get better in life, and the easy way out is not ending your life or hurting someone else. There's other options out there to help you to get through this, and you're not alone. You're not alone. And That's all I have to say about that, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in on That's It on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate and love you all, and I will see you guys tomorrow.